Anyone can have a gimme, but it really gets interesting when you go for two. The Go for Two podcast starting now.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Go for Two podcast, December 14th, man. I know it's been a couple weeks since we've been on here, but we're back again. This is everybody's favorite college quarterback, Dante, and I'm here with the man that needs no introduction, the stats guru.
Hey, we're here for episode 13 and live in studio.
Once again.
Middletown, Delaware.
Yeah, out here in Middletown, Delaware. It is a kind of a muggy day out today, but that December weather kind of feels like a mix between spring, fall, and winter almost out here. So a couple things, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We know it's past. Hopefully everybody had safe travels. I know my dad was in town, and then that Sunday was my birthday on December 1st, and then December 10th was my wife's birthday. So it's been an eventful last couple of weeks, so I hope everybody else's Thanksgiving was good. Don, I hope you ate well, man.
Oh, man, too well. But I do that every year.
Right. Hey, it's not a Thanksgiving unless you got a full belly.
There you go.
So a couple things, guys. Actually, tonight, December 14th, is UFC 245. So we'll be out at the Buffalo Wild Wings on Churchman's Road in Newark, Delaware today.
Yep.
So
not
if you
too
want
far from Christiana Mall. So, hey, we're there. Stop by. You want to see your favorite couch quarterback? You want to see the stats guru? You want to hang out with us and watch the fights? We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. We're actually UFC fans behind the scenes, guys. So big UFC fans. So tonight, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington.
Oh,
man, kind of conflicted on this one, but probably the most even matchup that we've ever seen in UFC history, especially for a title fight.
Yeah, 3 title fights tonight, man.
Yeah, Jermaine Duranami and Amanda Nunes and Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski.
Yes.
So pretty good fights, man. Uriah Faber's on that card as well. So just shout out to the UFC 245. Fly us out for an event, please. That would be awesome.
That would be.
Also, another little update. Just a side note: fantasy football in our league has started.
Oh, yes,
actually, this week. So actually, me and the stats guru are going up against each other.
Yeah.
Kind of a rematch from the very first year
Yes.
that we started playing. We actually played the first year in the championship, and I ended up scratching one out. Last year, Don lost in the first round of the playoffs to the guy who was undefeated.
Yeah, he's now 13-1.
13-1.
And I'm the one in 13-1.
Yep.
I took him down a couple weeks ago.
So pretty exciting stuff. There's 16 teams. How we did it was the top 8 teams got to the playoffs, and of course we did a consolation bracket as well, or like I like to call and tease my wife, the losers bracket. That doesn't really matter. We have another off-site event coming up here pretty soon. I'm going to let Don get into it a little more, actually back in his hometown in Oxford, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, how about that, man? We had such a good time up at the Maroon Hornet when we did our live podcast recording.
Shout out to
Oxford.
Randy. He's the man. Love that guy.
Randy is a good guy. I just saw him this morning, talked to him this morning. I was up in Oxford, him and his wife, Lori. Wish them the best going shopping tonight. They're going to hit the malls.
Oh, jeez.
My
wife actually works in retail. She doesn't want to tell you the horror stories that happened at Kohl's the past couple of weeks.
Well, exciting news. We have our next live podcast recording booked. And like Dante said, we're heading back to Oxford, Pennsylvania, and we are going to appear live at the Holy Grounds Coffee House.
Yes.
Just down the street from the comic book store. We're very excited to get back there. Coffee House is a great place to have the podcast. I met with Jeff, the owner. Great guy, and even better, Dante, he's an Eagles fan.
Oh, he's an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Oh, man. 2-1.
Yeah, well, hey, you had your time with Randy talking Florida State, so I'll have my time talking with Jeff, and we'll talk Eagles.
So this is a house divided because they're not actually fans that hate each other, so we're just going to have to come together on this one.
That's it. Now, during my discussion with Jeff, I brought up a contest idea I had, and that's kind of part 2 of this news. After the podcast, we are going to have a tournament, yes, a contest for a trophy. You have to earn the trophy. We just don't give out trophies.
Correct.
It
no
is
participation trophies.
That's
here.
it. We are going to have a rock, paper, scissors tournament. So that's open to all ages, all genders. Anybody could win this thing.
Yep.
I mean, this is stuff you do when you're young. You learn how to play. It's stuff even people our age do it. I mean, I've heard stories of people in parking lot doing it to merge. Who's going to merge next? They do rock, paper, scissors to each other or for parking spaces. And
so if my wife gets off of work on time before this contest starts, you guys might be in trouble. She's very competitive.
There you go.
So, yeah, shout out to Jeff and Holy Grounds Coffee. I cannot wait to do another remote podcast, especially during that time right before the playoffs or the Super Bowl. Actually.
Yeah, what we decided was talking to Jeff with all the bowl games going on in college and then the playoffs for the NFL. We settled on January 25th in 2020 because that is the week before the Super Bowl. So there's no games that are going to be conflicting.
Well, Pro Bowl, but
Pro Bowl.
Nobody watches that.
But what we're going to be having the podcast, probably we're looking at a morning podcast like 10 to 11, and then the competition for the rock, paper, scissors champion. We will find that champion from maybe 11 to 1. We'll see how many entries we have.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, more details to come the first of the year. Keep an eye on our Facebook page. We'll mention it on our future podcasts as far as the times, the entries, how to enter, how to get signed up in advance. All that good stuff is coming. We will start advertising this on our Facebook site as well. So talk to your family, talk to your friends. If you're in the region, anywhere near Oxford, and you can do rock, paper, scissors, you're good at it. You've beaten your friends. You better show up.
Yeah, or else you're a telepath either. If you're one of those, you might be able to win the whole thing. So please none of the X-Men show up. I apologize for the disrespect. So with all that being said, man, we got a lot of exciting stuff going too, and I know people are actually here to listen to us actually talk about football.
That's right.
Let's talk about football, and the biggest event that's actually happening today is the Heisman Trophy champion, whatever you want to call it, the Heisman Trophy presentation.
There you go.
So got Joe Burrow, of course, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, and controversial, I think, Chase Young.
Chase Young.
So kind of want to get your feelings on this, Don. I already picked my winner for various reasons, but I have Jalen Hurts winning it all in the Dante poll. How do you have it looking on the Don poll?
Ooh, it is interesting. I see your justification for Jalen Hurts. His combined touchdown passes and rushing is incredible.
He has 50. Joe Burrow has 51 with all the touchdowns that he had. He had the most yards in all-purpose, if you look at it in that aspect, more than Joe Burrow throwing the ball. And I think he led the nation in most yardage per play, which was like 11.1 or something like that. I mean, the only thing that's a downfall versus Joe Burrow's 77% completion percentage was his 71% completion percentage.
And I think what's pushing me to go to Joe Burrow is that game against Georgia. Yeah, I think that solidified it for me. But you brought up a great point when we talked about this before. Would LSU still be a winning team without Joe Burrow? And I think they probably would.
Yeah, because nobody knew who Joe Burrow was before this year. We just knew that he was an Ohio State transfer.
Right.
But Jalen Hurts has been a proven winner.
Yeah.
Anywhere that he's gone.
Yeah.
Alabama, Oklahoma. I mean, I think Lincoln Riley is, like I said, the quarterback whisperer. But he let Jalen Hurts do what he did this whole year. And I think without CeeDee Lamb being there for Oklahoma for, several games that he was out, they still won games, and it really came down to Jalen Hurts stepping up to the plate. I mean, if you look at the Heisman moments versus what Joe Burrow had this year, they had one close-ish type of game with LSU, but Oklahoma's games have been, they lost, came back from adversity. But you got to know that Jalen Hurts if we're looking at the MVP award, and no, I mean, there's really not a meaning around it, just the best player in the country. But if we're looking at the best player in the country that really was the MVP for his team, it has to be Jalen Hurts.
I agree.
Because I can name about 3 or 4 other people for LSU.
Yep.
I could say that if you put Jalen Hurts there, he would have did almost the same exact thing, or if not better. And you also have to look at the fact that he's a dual threat. He can do most. But Joe Burrow did have one catch for 16 yards this year.
Yes, he did.
So I don't know, man. I think Jalen Hurts, I know he has the biggest chip on his shoulder. I think he's a great role model for the sport, especially the way that he came back from adversity after getting benched in the national championship game, then staying one more year, being a great teammate, never complained, and then came to Oklahoma and now is part of the Heisman conversation again, is pretty remarkable.
Well, I don't want to neglect our 2 representatives from Ohio State. Just give them a mention. Justin Fields did throw for 40 touchdowns. And Chase Young did have 16.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles.
And led the nation even when he was out 3 games.
Yeah. So, I mean, these guys are all deserving to be there.
I would say Chase Young maybe. There, you can make an argument for Justin Taylor being the beast that he is up at Wisconsin, even though statistically he might have had an okay year based off of his production before. But if it came to Justin Fields, I think Justin Fields, if he would have stayed in a full game, if he would have stayed in all full games this year, you better watch out next year, man. This dude's he's gonna be lighting people up.
Yes, he is.
Best thing that coach did all year was take him out and preserve his quarterback, because right now they want to win championships. And if you would have let Justin Fields play a whole game, he would have been the clear favorite for the Heisman.
Oh, for sure.
So asterisks next to those 40 touchdowns, because he was taken out of the game several times this year.
That's right.
So if you look at it by that, I mean, wasn't really his fault why he didn't get the stats that he should have. Justin Fields is really the underlying Black Horse MVP this year.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
That's true.
But I still think Jalen Hurts, even with the team that Ohio State had, they were the best team in the nation all year long. It was never close, except for the Wisconsin game at one point. And that was it. The biggest scare that they had was against Wisconsin this year. But if you look at it, best overall person in the country that helped this team if you took Jalen Hurts out and put somebody else in, it wouldn't have been possible. Jalen Hurts is my Heisman winner.
Okay.
And with that being said, guys, next topic is, I was going to bring it up.
Oh, can I guess what we're talking about next? That Florida State is not ready for prime time?
They are not ready. But I can tell you what, Mike Norvell.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that whole press conference. I was coming back from the beach. Me and Heather listened to it on the way home. And I said, I don't really know too much about Mike Norvell, so I started looking up his stats. He was like 36 and 16 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make the championship game his first year. This is in 4 years. The last 3 years, he went to 3 conference championships. This past year, or right now, he had won his first with Memphis.
Yep.
Memphis used to be almost one of the laughing stocks of Division I.
Yep.
The only time you hear about Memphis is when it came to basketball.
That's right.
I think that's impressive, man.
Oh, it is. And I mean, he wasn't signed to a mega contract either. It was a nice contract, 6-year. Starts at $3.75 million and increases $250,000 every year until the last year will be $5.25. That was less than the previous head coach made.
That's crazy, man. And so there's a couple of different things I want everybody to look out for. I know that he's got a mess to clean up, just like Willie Taggart did.
Yep.
But let's see what he does with the mess. Which is, even if he can even win 6 or 7 games next year, I would be happy as long as we go to a bowl game.
Well, what do you think about his offense and defensive coordinators that he brought over? He brought over Kenny Dillingham from Auburn, their offensive coordinator, and he brought over Adam Fuller from Memphis, who he's already worked with as a defensive coordinator.
Our defense needs work. That was literally the pain point of our whole team, along with special teams and along with our offensive line that has been struggling. I like it, man. I'm not gonna dock him in knowing what coordinators that he wants to push over, and I'm glad that Florida State's giving him the total reins. But the most important signing out of all of those was Odell Higgins. Him bringing him back. That was the first hire that they made. Well, not hire, but that's the first retention that they made for the team was him being an interim coach and being a defensive assistant for many, many years with Florida State. After Odell Higgins went 3-1, I believe, at the end of the year, that was an important piece, and he knew that him being part of the team still would be a very important. So something interesting. I know you like stats.
Okay.
We'll get into stats a little later, but I gotta say one thing. When I listened to his press conference, me and my wife, her being a collegiate athlete and me being an ex-football player, we looked at it as, would we want to play for him?
Okay.
And when he spoke, it was like, wow. I would go to bat for him. I'd go to war for Mike Norvell. Not knowing him before and not really doing my research, I've heard names here and there, but I just kind of wanted to be surprised how their press conference was going to be. I don't want to give myself false hope from it being Bob Stoops or Deion Sanders because I know what they bring. But this was more of I don't have to trust him right away, but I know he's just going to ask for the trust and see what he do with it. One interesting thing that he did point out. Memphis sucked in special teams before he got there. He said special teams is the most important part of that offense, of your whole team. And I can consider that true. Wherever you start on the field is based off of what your special teams gives you or puts out. He said that Memphis in the 80s as the last time that they had a kick return for a touchdown.
Wow.
The very first game that he coached 4 years ago is when they got their first kick return touchdown. And then for the last 4 years, they have astronomically been the best team in kick return touchdowns in the nation.
There you go.
And it's not even close.
Wow.
So with that being said, that's amazing. I'm on board. I got a better feeling from him than I did with Willie. I kind of got with Willie because, at first he was like, Florida State was my favorite team and all that, blah, blah, blah. But he was very too monotone. I didn't like the way that he kind of, did his thing with the team. I think Mike Norvell is going to come in there and do like a military approach. Get these guys together, get these guys to buy in, get these guys to go to class, get these guys to be there for the community. And he said the first poster that he had in his room when he was a kid was when they won the national championship in the early 90s.
Oh, wow.
So he knows about the history.
Yes, he does.
He knows about the tradition, and he said he wouldn't have taken this job if it wasn't something that he'd actually want to get into. So I expect him to be around for a very long time and for us to win a lot of games. And I'm calling it right now. If he gets his team turned around the way he says it, in 3 years we'll win a national championship again.
Oh, there we go. 3 years.
And we'll be the most disciplined team out there because now it's a complete mess.
Well, after what he's done with Memphis, I definitely looking forward to what he's going to do there and how soon.
Well, Florida State was going to let him coach in the bowl game, but he decided not to.
Oh, wow.
He decided to tell his players there that, my time has ended here. But we'll see what they do as far as what he had taught them.
Right.
Let's see how they act against Florida or Penn State when they play in their bowl game.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. That might be the most interesting bowl game to watch just because of all the noise around it. Because they are a ranked team, and we know how James Franklin is against ranked teams.
Yes.
Yeah, especially on the road, and this is a neutral site. So, I'm happy, man. I think Florida State, we're going to see them back on the map. And as long as with Florida State, I know it's kind of sad for just college football, but I can't forget about Tennessee being terrible either. We've never seen a downfall of Tennessee like we have before. They always used to be a powerhouse team. I don't know what's going on, so I hope they get it figured out too.
Right.
Ole Miss's new coach, Lane Kiffin.
There you go.
I think he won 2 conference championships since he's been at FAU, and now he's Ole Miss's new coach. USC, assistant at Alabama, won national championships. Went to FAU, won 2 conference championships. We'll see.
Yep.
And they I think they, you just need to tighten the screws in that team too to be able to put up 500 yards on LSU. Circle that. Don't forget about that. And then the next thing, man, the college football championship. The biggest bowl games out there.
Out of all 40 bowl games, yes, the biggest.
We got Clemson versus Ohio State.
Yep.
And LSU versus Oklahoma.
Yep.
The championship game is Ohio State versus Clemson. I'm sorry to say. That's really the game to watch, even more than the national championship.
That is going to be an awesome game.
Predictions.
You know, I hate going with the favorites, but I think you're going to see 1 and 2 play in the finals. I think it's going to be LSU and Ohio State.
And it's hard to argue that. But if Joe Burrow wins the Heisman today, don't think that Jalen Hurts won't have a chip on his shoulder because he's played LSU.
That's right.
Before. Oklahoma, I take Oklahoma over LSU.
Yeah.
And with CeeDee Lamb being back too, we see what he did. He put up like 170 something yards on Baylor. It makes a difference when you got your star players in there. And I just think, I know Clemson, everybody's feeding off that national championship, but I cannot get the bad taste out of my mouth of them almost losing to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Ohio State's been statistically the best team on both sides of the ball all year.
Yes, they have.
Ohio State. I think we're going to see Oklahoma, Ohio State, and I don't see how Oklahoma escapes Ohio State. Ohio State, national champions.
Okay.
That's my pick. Who's your national champion this year?
I would actually go the same way, but I think they're going to play LSU, and I think they're going to take down LSU.
Do you think it's going to be a close game?
I think it'll be reasonably close, single digits. Yes, under 10 points.
Now, what would be interesting if both of those teams win, how would Joe Burrow deal with Ohio State's defense?
Yeah.
Will he look like a maybe?
That's where I think they have the edge. That's why I'm going
if
Ohio
he
State.
sucks in that game,
yes,
his draft stock is going down exponentially.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Jalen Hurts goes up if he has a decent game against them, and if LSU wins, and I think Joe Burrows goes down in the tank. But it all comes down to the combine too. So we had some conference champions, man, that we picked at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah, before the season even started.
Before the season even started, guys.
Wow, we were putting it out there early just to take a shot at this and see how we did.
Yep. So here it is.
Drum roll.
ACC. Me and Don picked as our winner to be Clemson and our runner-up to be Miami. We were totally wrong with Miami.
Yes, we were.
They had sparks to life during the season, but it was Clemson and Virginia. Don't forget that I did say Bryce Perkins was one of my quarterbacks to watch this year, and
absolutely.
he made all the difference in them winning. We were right. Clemson all the way, 12-0. Big 12. I had Texas as being the winner and the runner-up being Oklahoma. How bad did Texas choke this year?
Yeah, they were very disappointing this year.
Sam Ellinger, I still think he's a great quarterback.
I do too.
But Don had Oklahoma winning against Texas. So we're 50-50 on that one too. But Don was right. Oklahoma was the winner.
Ooh.
This is the one that really disappointed us, guys.
Yeah.
We thought that this was going to be the year that Michigan was going to be great for college football again.
Yep.
We had both of them.
Both
of us had Michigan winning. My runner-up was Nebraska. Totally wrong.
Yeah.
I just thought that team was going to come back strong this year.
I thought they were going to be a lot stronger this year.
But Don had as his runner-up Ohio State, and I was like, there is no absolute way that Ohio State was going to be good. But they showed the resilience, man, and I didn't know Chase Young was going to be as good as he was, and
right.
I didn't think – I always say it, I wish Justin Fields would have came to Florida State. But I didn't think he was going to be that damn good.
Right.
So Don was almost on the button. And then we had Washington and Oregon chosen for our Pac-12 championship.
Yep.
I had Oregon winning against Washington. Oregon did win, and Don had to reverse. He had Washington. I know he was big on his boy Jacob Eason out there at Washington. He had a decent year.
It was a decent year. It wasn't. We expected a little bit more based on the schedule they had this year. Thought he would do a little bit better, but it was still a decent year.
Last one we got, guys, SEC, of course, the big boys. We talked about LSU all year being good. We were right. We had them chosen as the winner.
Yep.
I had the runner-up being Georgia, which I was right. And you were kind of conflicting on if it should be Alabama or Georgia.
Right.
It came down to the wire. We were pretty much right on this one.
Yeah.
And we damn sure were right. LSU was going to be one of the best teams in the country and that it was going to be Alabama. So if you look at it overall, not bad.
Not bad for a first time.
Big 12, our Big 10, we kind of tanked on, but and then being very high on Miami and Texas were disappointments this year. But I think everybody can say that, and we expected Alabama not to be the powerhouse that they were.
Right.
The last 10 years. So, last thing with college football, we're gonna wrap up on. Is there any bowl games that you're looking forward to watching?
Actually, at this point, I am very interested in the one that's going on today. The
one is
Army
that?
Navy. That is going to be a running display on offense for both teams.
Well, I don't really want to count that as a bowl game because that's just a normal game. But I mean, yeah, it's like the bowl game that we can always count on happening.
I really like the matchup. I believe Army's had the last 3 years that they've won, but both of them feature a running attack. So that is going to be an interesting game. But I will give a look to the actual bowl games. There's a couple that have been very interesting to me, but I do not have any clear-cut favorites yet, but we will post them on Facebook.
All right. Though the one bowl game I already mentioned was Penn State versus Memphis.
Right.
And just because of the implications of how Memphis is going to play without Mike Norvell. But then seeing if James Franklin is going to choke on technically the road against a ranked team because they are ranked very high. I think they are 17th or something like that. But just seeing how Penn State is going to come back and try to win games because they went through a bunch of adversity this year. And how wrong was the committee wrong about Minnesota, man? Like I said, the legitimacy of having people doing the eye test versus the computers, I think BCS was still the best system, but, you know, it is what it is at this point. I think they did get the college football championship rankings, the top 4 right, though. So it's hard to argue that. Now let's move on to the NFL. We're about 27 minutes in right now, so there's a lot that we could talk about here, but kind of want to just get through the one news that happened this week was Terrell Suggs got let go after a 17-year career.
Yep.
With the Cardinals.
T-Sizzle.
I know some people are like, you know, he's not their favorite. My wife does not like Terrell Suggs whatsoever, but that's her being a Steelers fan.
I can understand that.
Yeah, he's a little annoying, you know. But, you know, production-wise, you can't put the fact that he wasn't a good player because he was.
Yeah, he was.
And for the Cardinals taking him, I mean, we know that they're not having that great of a year either, so this kind of gives you implications that they're about to draft a defensive lineman or outside linebacker here pretty soon, with him being gone. Next thing, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
The Panthers said that they want to seek a trade for Cam Newton. Now, before we talk about Cam Newton, me and my dad were talking about Ron Rivera. And
okay.
You know, we've talked about Ron Rivera before on
have.
the show and how that I think that he is not a great fit for what he wants Cam Newton to do. You can't contain a big-bodied, giant human being and tell him not to do certain things. You're just going to have to take the risk with somebody like Cam Newton. But Ron Rivera was out the door, and then surprisingly, Panthers was like, let's get rid of Cam. But it's not really that surprising with how well that your boy's doing.
Kyle Allen. Yeah, he's not setting the world on fire, but he is much better than everybody expected.
I think Christian McCaffrey's making him look a little bit better than he is.
I agree.
But I see the potential there. I don't argue the decision making, but being in Carolina during the time that Cam Newton was there, every time they lost, it was Cam Newton's fault.
Right.
But then when they were winning, it was like, oh, the Panthers are going to the Super Bowl this year. The guy took you to a Super Bowl, man. The guy set the world on fire his rookie year. Steve Smith loved him when he was there. Yep. There's not like a whole lot not to like about Cam. We know that he's a crybaby sometimes. I mean, remember the fallout on the sidelines during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot not to like about Cam Newton, guys, and
he needs a change. He really does.
Dude, I'm telling you, if I predict this, man, what was I saying a couple weeks ago? If he goes to the Steelers,
yep.
But I think they got a thing with Duck Hodges, man.
Yeah,
I don't think that I don't think they're going to sway away from that unless just the opportunity fits itself.
Right.
And I think the opportunity to have Cam Newton in Pittsburgh, fans are going to hate him until they start winning.
Exactly. Believe me, I have some family that are Steelers fans, and I brought that up to them, and they're like, "No, we don't want Cam Newton."
Yeah, but I think he would just mesh well. Just
Yeah.
kind of like the relationship. And I'll tell you, we'll get into Lamar Jackson a little later and how amazing he is.
Wow.
But the fact that the relationship that John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson have, where it's just like, go do your thing.
Yep.
Is crazy, man. Like, they have fun together. I think John Harbaugh knows that, like, I can't really contain the beast.
Yep.
So I'm just going to let him do his thing, but just be smart.
Right.
You could run with you can use your legs, but just be smart.
Well,
you
he took a big hit on that run he had where he broke the record in the last game, and then after that, he had several plays where he ran out of bounds. So I think he's starting to get the idea of what he needs to do and not take the hit all the time.
To me, this is seeming like he's at Louisville again.
Yeah.
But going back to my point, I think with Cam Newton and Mike Tomlin would be like, just go do your thing, big boy.
That would be a good combination. It really would.
He's a player's coach, and
Yeah.
that's what Cam Newton needs. He doesn't need somebody that's going to sit there and contain him, and kind of like what was it Gus Malzahn who was at Auburn when he won the Heisman? I can't remember which coach it was, but they just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
You can't contain a big body beast. And I know people are saying that he can't throw and stuff like that. That can be worked on.
Oh yeah.
He can make the throws. We know he can run. I don't know. It's kind of interesting that they want to trade him, but then it's not interesting at the same time because we kind of seen this happening. It's just how are the Panthers going to respond on it. This is the great draft to look for quarterbacks, especially
Not
a lot of
bad.
skill players.
Yeah. It's going to be a big wide receiver draft.
What if the Panthers trade up in the draft and draft Joe Burrow?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Very interesting. Don't say I didn't call it.
Okay.
Next thing we have here is we're gonna just go through the stats. Let's go through the stats.
Okay, you
before
got
we
it.
get into this big juicy topic.
Yeah, we got a few good topics coming up. Just to update everybody on the NFL stat leaders. We'll hit the individuals, then we'll hit the teams. Passing, Dak Prescott.
He's still up there.
He is number one, but he's only up there by like 7 yards over second Jameis Winston. Hey, when you're behind, you got to throw the ball. What can I say?
That's true.
Rushing, a little surprising seeing the names that are here now. I think some other guys are starting to lose some steam. You got Nick Chubb, and about 40 yards behind him, you got Derrick Henry.
Dude, Derrick Henry, I have him on my fantasy team.
Don't be bragging on your fantasy team, man. You're playing me this week.
Yeah, but the thing about Derrick Henry is, out of all the Alabama running backs that have gone out, let's see, we've had Trent Richardson, total bust. We've had Mark Ingram.
Yeah, he's had a nice career.
The end of his career has been better than his first half, for sure. But Derrick Henry, dude, if you look at him, he's like a giant human being that runs the football. Like, I would just imagine having like 100 little kids trying to tackle him. Think about that in your head. Just like, start at the one, now run 100 yards.
It's like the commercial with Jerome Bettis and flag football, right?
Exactly, but even worse because this guy's fast too. Derrick Henry is amazing. Nick Chubb has been now think about the Georgia when Nick Chubb was there and when Todd Gurley got hurt. Nick Chubb had a pretty nasty injury to his leg too, and to see his career bounce back and be the stats leader right now in rushing,
and
that's great.
also consider he's starting to share now the past few weeks when Kareem Hunt's been back, and his numbers are still up there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt hasn't been bad.
I have him on my fantasy team.
I had him first, and then I let him go.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of – so I did that with 3 people. I did that with A.J. Green, who still hasn't started. Melvin Gordon, who's worked out.
Yep.
And then I had, what's his face?
Yep.
I had to let him go because I just didn't know.
And I took him.
Yeah.
All right, receiving stats. Still on top, Michael Thomas. The man can catch. He's got great hands. Chris Godwin is in second, a couple 100 yards behind him.
Michael Thomas, the cousin or nephew of Chris Carter. So you can see the resemblance. Not the flashiest guy, but I'm going to catch everything you throw at me.
Got that right. Defensively, leading the league in tackles, Bobby Wagner. And, actually, tie for first with Blake Martinez.
Blake Martinez, yeah. We've been seeing his name go in and out all year. But Bobby Wagner, incredible linebacker.
Yep, always has.
Dude, most underrated linebacker probably of our time right now. I mean, because you look at people like Brian Urlacher and Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis and all these linebackers that have been getting into the Hall of Fame. Dude, Bobby Wagner was a Hall of Famer 2 years ago. I mean, pretty much he's just padding his stats at this point and consistent, dude. Bobby Wagner's awesome.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that just because he's a Seahawks fan.
No,
he proves it every year.
He does. Sacks. Got some huge sack numbers this year, man. Shaq Barrett at 15.5. And the man you don't want to face in the lunchroom, Chandler Jones at 14.
Chandler Jones, man, is awesome. Another underrated defensive lineman that, needs to get more love than he actually gets. He's an awesome player.
And we have 3 people with 5 interceptions. Devin McCourty, Marcus Peters, even though he switched teams, and then that Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Dude, I love Marcus Peters. I don't care what anybody says. I love how brash he is, dude.
He is, man.
Him and Jalen Ramsey got into it. That was awesome. Minkah Fitzpatrick, you can make an argument that he's the league MVP this year.
I know.
Too.
I mean,
he's been so important to the Steelers.
What a difference
that was like the best trade of all time.
I know. It was great.
They got away with murder with that one. And then Devin McCourty, an older guy up there.
He's still doing it.
Yeah, I think he had 5 interceptions in like the first 6 games. Or something.
He hadn't had.
He hadn't had the production that he had in the first 5 games. But Marcus Peters and Minkah Fitzpatrick though they've been playing awesome.
Yep. Stats for team. For total yards, Dallas is still on top with 430. And on the flip side, the defense that gives up the fewest, still the New England Patriots. Not by much, but it's still them. Passing the ball, most yards passing. Now, I want you to hear these numbers. Passing yards per game, Dallas Cowboys. Rushing yards, Baltimore Ravens. They're about the same. The yards are about the same.
What's the yardage?
Well, we're talking 202.
Wow.
Baltimore's rushing 202 yards a game.
And that's just Lamar Miller.
Ingram's in there.
Yeah.
Come on. Gus Edwards is in there, man.
Yeah.
They are getting some rushing yards. Sacks. Pittsburgh Steelers, 48. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect that.
But if you think about it, they got TJ Swat.
Yeah.
They got Devin Bush.
Yep.
They got Minkah Fitzpatrick. And who's the other dude that's on the other side from, I know you played ball at Buffalo. Number 48. I always forget his name. Bud Dupree.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Watch out. That doesn't really surprise me as much as it surprises you. But.
And then turnovers, New England Patriots still taking the ball away with 19 turnovers.
Mm-hmm. So, what are we looking at? The top 10s, man?
Well, I got some top 10s that I came up with. We don't have to go over 10 for each side, but we're winding down the season, and I was looking at who are still contenders and who are the pretenders. And I don't mean the Pretenders, that great band from the 80s that I love so much.
Right. Let them know, Dom.
Yeah.
So,
of course, when we were talking music, not to get off topic, we were talking music at work, and one of our listeners, Brett, who's in our fantasy football league, they were talking some groups I never heard of, so I was telling him some oldies I was listening to, and Pretenders are one of the groups that I mentioned.
Yeah.
He's like, who's that? I'm like, dude, man, making me feel old.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, Brett. Shout out to Brett. He's had an amazing fantasy football year too.
Yes, he has.
So
what do you think of this list? I'll let you look it over, and we can grab 3 or 4 teams and see what you think.
So San Francisco is still surprising.
Definitely
to me.
the contender.
Baltimore is not really surprising because their front of the house is so good.
Yep.
They make really good decisions every couple of years. New Orleans, we knew that.
Yep.
Green Bay, we knew that.
Well, Green Bay is definitely contender right now, but I don't think. I think they've just been coasting a little bit here. I don't think they're as dominant as everybody thinks they are. I don't think they're going to do well in the playoffs.
I can see your point there. Yeah, because the games that they lost were like, what? They lost that?
Yeah, they lost to the Eagles, man.
That's crazy.
All right. Seattle, though. They have been getting more and more impressive.
And I was surprised, man. Like, we've only lost 2 games this year.
Yeah, they are getting better and better. Now, I mean, that game, once again, I bring up the Eagles. Their win over the Eagles was not in a dominating fashion, but,
yeah,
you know. But I think they will do better than Green Bay in the playoffs.
Yep. Kansas City, we know about them.
Minnesota, I have them on the list, but that's only because they're undefeated at home. They have a losing record on the road.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be a good playoff team, and they were kind of borderline. Are they a contender? I don't know. Maybe a wild card.
Yeah, I get your point there. But Minnesota is good, man. Especially when they're playing well and everything,'s meshing
Well, as long as
well.
Kirk Cousins is playing well, yeah.
I mean,
I'm a little worried about Dalvin Cook. Him and Christian McCaffrey had been putting up some numbers this year, but the last few weeks they seem to be tailing off a little bit. I don't know if they're getting tired. I'm not sure. They're just, it's not a good time to do that.
not whatsoever. Tennessee, the change at quarterback.
That's what
Ryan
did it.
Tannehill's looking like the MVP.
I know, he is, man.
Holy crap.
Marcus,
I
who?
remember I was saying that, like, why would they bring him in for Mariota? And then I joked around that, like, are they going to put him at wide receiver like he played at Texas A&M? And he's been lights out, man. I think Mike Vrabel's offense suits him really well.
Yeah, I do too.
Because it's not like they have amazing receivers, but their receivers have been playing amazing, and it's great when you have somebody like Derrick Henry that can open it up. I'm not saying that Ryan Tannehill is an elite quarterback but just like Marcus Mariota, I think they're both system quarterbacks, but the way Ryan Tannehill is playing, he's like, oh, pump the brakes, sir. I'm about to win some games. Buffalo is a real surpriser to me.
Yeah, but I know Brett's happy about that. That's his team.
But remember, I said Josh Allen is a lot better than what people give him credit
You're
for.
right. They've had a pretty solid year. They haven't had a difficult schedule. I mean, it hasn't been hard, but they have put up some significant wins.
Yeah. New England, we already know they're contenders every year until Mr. Brady leaves.
Every year, whether they cheat or not.
Oh, sir.
And
I can't say they can get away with this one.
What? They're cheating on the Bengals, man? They need help.
But that's the questionable
the
part. We're not going to get into this. We'll have an offline conversation about this, but why would you cheat against the
I know,
Bengals?
man.
But then that's why it doesn't seem legitimate either.
I know. It's
like maybe they really were just trying to get some footage, because it's like, who cheats against a team that's won one game? Yeah, I don't. Let's pump the brakes on New England being cheaters, guys.
I had to throw that in there, man.
That doesn't make sense. Pretenders, LA Rams. When Todd Gurley does good, Jared Goff does good.
You're exactly right. You are exactly right.
If Todd Gurley gets 60 yards, Jared Goff looks amazing.
Yep.
But when he's not in the game, Jared Goff is trash.
Man, and all that money they paid for him.
I tried to warn him. I called him, Don.
Yeah.
I called him 3 years ago and told him that this was going to happen.
Rams are going to be having some trouble with cash flow very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So
somebody's getting let go.
Yeah.
And I believe Todd Gurley might be the first one.
I think he might.
Dallas.
Man, they looked like world beaters there for a while. They had a lead in the NFC East. And then all of a sudden, man, they lost to, the Jets, who hadn't won a game or something at that point. And just, man, they got good players. On paper, they are a decent team.
Yeah.
And that's coming from somebody that doesn't like the Cowboys.
They do, man. They got an elite team that just doesn't mesh well. And I think it's going to start with just the coach, man, to be completely honest. Get rid of Jason Garrett and see how somebody else does. If not, you can bring him back. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
we're gonna let you go. If you don't go anywhere else, we might pick you back up.
I don't think they want the clapper back on the sideline.
Yeah. Philadelphia.
Yes, I put them on the pretender list.
It's because we're real fans.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being real. I mean, they got a lot of things going wrong.
I can honestly say, though, all the Eagles fans saying that this is Carson Wentz's fault. He might play terrible. But damn, I can't depend on anybody to catch the freaking ball.
They have so many injuries this year. Matter of fact, there was something published about average age of the team. And the Eagles were like the third oldest team at the beginning of the season. Now they're something like the 18th or 19th oldest team because all the old players are hurt and are out, and they got all these young guys coming in.
I can't. So Philadelphia must have the worst medical staff of all time.
I'm beginning to wonder that myself,
like,
man.
every time they get a player to get hurt, Deshaun Jackson came back, got hurt. Darren Sproles has been hurt his whole damn career with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
Like Carson Wentz. Granted, who always had an injury problem.
Right.
But damn, the dude gets hurt all the time, too. Like, and then these damn receivers, man.
Oh, man, bang your knee or out for 4 games. Running back Howard gets a stinger, as it's reported, and he's missed, 5 weeks on a stinger? Come on, people.
I sprained some of my leg hairs. I'm out for 5 games.
Well, I think that was Nelson Aguilar that did that.
Or either they got the players that got the anxiety because they made so much money.
Well, I don't think it's that, but they.
Well, that's what he said. That was a quote from him. He said the contract might have maybe get what? Well, let me have that conversation with my wife. Like,
I mean, no, I mean nothing against anxiety because
mental health because I don't want the gods to strike upon us.
It is real and it is difficult, But
that's just a silly reason to me. Like,
wow,
holy hell! Oh, because my contract got restructured, I'm making more money. Holy hell!
Any more pretenders stand out there?
Cleveland Browns have been a disappointment.
Oh, so disappointing.
And I mean, who could say that Odell made the wrong decision? You got to play with your best friend. You got to play with a promising quarterback. Yep. It's just it didn't work out. And he's been quiet this whole year. Well, I want to see if Tom Brady sticks around one more year, they need to pick up Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow.
That would be crazy. Ooh, what if AJ Green's not going to be on the Bengals next year? Yeah. I can't foresee him being there. What if they pick up Odell and AJ Green? Oh, my goodness, my heart.
Now you want to hear something? One of my possibilities. Next year, AJ Green's on the Eagles.
It seems like all good receivers go to the Eagles.
Yes,
eventually.
They do, and then they don't perform, man. They might have part of a good year, and that's it.
AJ Green's the most underrated wide receiver of the last 10 years. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says.
I look for him to end up in Eagles green next year.
Oh, man.
We'll see.
Pittsburgh, I think they just had the wrong quarterback in while Ben was hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
We wouldn't even be talking about that. So that's kind of like you put them in between the contenders and pretenders. Houston.
Oh, my gosh. Man, they're up 1 week. And they collapse the next week. It's like, what's going on with
beat a powerhouse, then beat somebody that ain't even considered to be a playoff team. LA Chargers, they've always been a team that you talk about really high that's got the talent that never performs.
Never perform.
Phillip Rivers needs to retire this year because some of his throws are like, what the hell are you throwing at, Phil?
Yeah, he's done.
I think he's done. His ugly throwing motion is just like, it makes me sick watching him play still. So.
Now, I have Chicago as a pretender, but they're looking good the past few weeks.
Dude, Mitch Trubisky, I'm telling you, it's not as bad as what people think it is. I like Mitch Trubisky. And this is from a quarterback
When he's on, he's on. I'll give him that.
But, I mean, people making fun of him because he doesn't want to have the TVs talking about him at work. Like, if it's going to help the morale of him and the team, then do it.
There you go.
And you see what's been happening is Nagy, who's actually from, is it Lebanon? What's that place called near Lancaster? Mannheim.
Mannheim?
Yeah, he's from Mannheim.
Okay.
I saw his little jersey up at a bar that we went to not too long ago.
Okay.
But yeah, as long as Matt Nagy can get him going, then it might be all right. They seem like they have a pretty good relationship too on the sidelines, like a father-son kind of relationship. Let it be, man. Get some. You got Allen Robinson there. Just throw it to him every play. Carolina definitely But Carolina fans will say one thing, and then we'll say another. Your team is not that good.
Well, when they had Kyle Allen in there and they were winning all those games, they looked like a contender, possibly. Now, no.
Yeah,
It was a fleeting moment.
and Atlanta's been the weirdest team in the NFL this year.
God,
Like, how the hell you lose these easy games and then come back and beat these powerhouse teams?
know.
Like, oh no, they're definitely losing this game. And you look at the score and it's like 45 to 6.
Man, that week they took out the Saints. I mean, they just took them out. It wasn't a close game.
And yes, people, I will take Matt Ryan over Jared Goff. I know that's what some people are
a tough
thinking.
one, man. They're wondering about that.
I mean, Matt Ryan is consistent. He's not amazing, but Jared Goff is trash. Like, put him in the garbage can already. Oh, man. So, I brought up something interesting. We're coming on 50 minutes here.
Okay.
But I wanted to show you how close that we were in some of our predictions.
Okay.
So, the NFC East, which is the Cowboys, Eagles, Redskins, and Giants.
Yeah.
I had the Cowboys and the Eagles being 1 and 2.
Yep.
And then you had the reverse.
Yeah. And it's going to be one or
And
the
then
other.
Redskins, Giants on mine, and then Giants, Redskins on yours. AFC South. I had the Texans and Colts in first.
Okay.
And the Jaguars. Wait. Yeah, Texans and Colts.
Yeah.
Jaguars and Titans.
Okay.
And you had the Colts, Texans, Titans, Jaguars. Very interesting.
Yeah.
AFC North.
Okay.
Patriots. Is it AFC East?
AFC's, yeah.
Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins was me.
Okay.
Patriots, Bills, Jets, Dolphins.
Oh.
Was you. And then NFC North, we got the Bears, Vikings, Packers, and Lions.
Wow.
That was mine.
Okay.
Disappointment.
Yeah.
But yours is very interesting
Okay.
because it's almost all close, but it's more of what we see right now.
Yeah.
Vikings, Packers, Bears, and Lions.
Wow. Yeah.
And then NFC South, Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Buccaneers was me.
Okay.
And then yours was Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Buccaneers as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, Bucks have been a little more impressive.
I think your record was more accurate on the Saints, so I had them 13
Okay.
and 3. Yours is 10 and 6.
Yeah.
AFC West, I had Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos.
Okay.
I've been pretty accurate. So
Yeah.
yours is the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos.
Okay.
Broncos, I had them being like one of the worst this year so far. And then AFC West, Arizona, LA,
Ooh.
Seattle, and San Francisco. Does it say who? No, I don't remember. I have to go look back at the other episodes, but I didn't really put a name with this one. It's one of ours, and then one of ours was AFC North, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Ravens, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. I think that's what I had. Yeah, I had to go back. I'll try to get the NFC West and AFC North next time, guys. But,
Sounds good.
But yeah, pretty interesting when you look at it from what we predicted at the beginning of the year. And best believe we will come back and give you the accurate, statistics on what it is.
Yeah.
Or the accurate standings on where it ends and where we had them.
Okay.
And then we got one last thing here.
Well, we could stretch it into 2 if you want.
Yeah.
This is a quick one.
Yeah, I mean, who can beat the Raiders, or prevent or not the Raiders? Who can prevent the Ravens and the 49ers from being Super Bowl favorites?
I mean, the way that looks right now, they're going to rematch each other in the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah.
Is there any team that can stop that? I mean,
I believe if you take Drew Brees out and put Teddy Bridgewater back, he ain't been playing bad. Let's be honest.
No, Saints might be. I don't know. And Seattle, if it's right, one of those two may be able to take out. But
I don't see the AFC not having the Ravens and the Chiefs there.
Yeah.
And I don't see how we're not going to have a 49ers or Seattle and New Orleans. One of those three teams is going to be, or one of those two teams is going to be in the NFC Championship.
All right.
Now, if Green Bay can get their crap together,
yeah,
because Aaron Rodgers has only thrown like 2 interceptions this year.
Yeah,
his touchdown to interception ratio is ridiculous in his career. All right, and then coaching help.
Yep, help wanted.
Washington.
Coach openings.
Yeah, Washington, Cleveland, Carolina, Detroit, New York Giants, Atlanta, the Jets, Dallas, and Jacksonville. Jets are not going to give up Adam Gase yet. They already said that.
I mean, this is just a possibility. I mean, two of the coaches are already going, Washington and Carolina, but these are hot topics as far as potential coach openings.
Yeah. Freddie Kitchens needs to be going, though. I think that's
agree.
the most important out of the rest of
Yes.
these teams. That is to have that much talent and not be able to win.
But does Detroit get rid of Matt Patricia? Is it time?
He's been without Matt Stafford all year.
Right. Yeah, so I don't see that happening, but
I think they're going to give him one more year.
yeah.
Because he's kind of steering this ship in another direction. Dallas, they need to get rid of Jason Garrett just to see. And they need to hire an actual GM.
Oh.
Jerry Jones can't do it at all, man.
Oh, man.
That's why he's so dumb.
Yeah.
The Giants, they're going to hold on to what they got.
Okay.
I think Daniel Jones is the future, of
Oh,
course.
yeah, definitely.
The Jets, they already said they're going to keep Adam Gase. In Jacksonville, they're going to keep Doug Marrone, too. I don't see them getting rid of them. But, yeah, I mean, Atlanta, I see them sticking around, too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty disappointing, man. I don't know.
But the games that they win are like, they won that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Devontae Freeman being gone, too, for almost the whole season and not performing. It's a lot. That's
right.
It's a lot for that team. They don't really have an identity on defense either. So, I don't know. We'll see. And the last thing I want to get into before we close out the hour is Lamar Jackson, the MVP.
Ooh, great topic. Great topic. He was the reason I did not have Baltimore winning the division early in the season. I knew he was going to get better, but I thought this was a growing year, and then next year I look for him to be showing what he can do. But man, did he step it up this year. Oh my gosh. When you talk about MVP, like you mentioned for Heisman, who's most valuable to their team, this team is not the same team without Lamar Jackson.
As much as I'm not a Ravens fan, I don't hate on the Ravens, but it's hard to root against John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And it's hard as hell to root against him and Lamar Jackson together.
Yep.
That team is on Lamar Jackson's back.
I mean, think about when the Ravens have gone to the Super Bowl before. They have a quarterback who just doesn't create turnovers, who blah, and their defense does everything. Man, they got a good defense, and then they got Lamar Jackson. Wow.
Yeah, they're not a powerhouse defense. They get the job done.
Yeah.
And they're not a powerhouse offense either without Lamar Jackson.
But the man doesn't just run. He can throw.
Dude, he throws those sidearm passes
that
are like, I told somebody, there was one throw he made this year that I'm like, y'all need to stop saying this man can't throw. Did you ever watch him at Louisville? The best mentor for him to have was Michael Vick this year.
Yeah.
Since he's been since he's been drafted. Michael Vick took him under his wing. He said, one thing Michael Vick didn't do and was known for is not reading a playbook. Another thing was watching film. And another thing was working on his intermediate throws. That means his short and medium throws.
Right.
He was accurate as hell when he threw the long ball, and he was great on his feet. When he got to the Eagles, it was a little different. He was like, wow, why can't we see this Michael Vick before in his younger years? He started to learn that.
Yep.
And I think he told that lesson to Lamar Miller like right away. You have to do this, and you're going to be a beast. If you do these things, you don't even have to work on your running because they know that that's going to be a threat. And he broke the record this year.
Yeah.
Almost 3,000 yards passing so far. I think he'll hit 3,500 before he leaves. Imagine if he had 3,500 yards passing and like 1,300 yards rushing this year. He's already like got 40-something touchdowns.
It's crazy.
Lamar Jackson is a beast, man.
The only other person that comes close, I think, right now in MVP would be Russell Wilson.
And because he's had some down weeks, that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Like after last week, I know people want to say it was the Jets or this Thursday. People want to say it's the Jets, but it's still an NFL team.
Yep.
And they still wanted to win.
Yep.
And Lamar Jackson made them look absolutely silly.
Yeah.
He's the MVP, man. I don't think
at this point,
even if he was out one game, let's say if he got hurt, even if he was out one game, he still wins.
Right. At this point, I agree with you.
They'll lose that game badly without him, but they need to preserve him. And I just love watching him and John Harbaugh, like, just get, have fun together.
Yep.
It's not animosity there. He's like, just go do your thing, and I'm gonna let you control the offense. That's a great quarterback coach relationship, almost kind of like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick almost.
Yeah.
It's more fun, of course, not as serious, but you could tell they're competitors. But when people have fun, especially good players, when they have fun, they win a lot of games. It's kind of like Cam Newton. When he's having fun, he's like crazy unstoppable.
Yep.
So we're gonna close out the show, guys. With that, is Lamar Jackson your MVP? Let us know on Facebook. Find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever podcasts are. We're probably on there. I got to get the YouTube going back again. It just takes a long time to do those videos, but I think they turn out pretty cool. So I'll try to do that soon. This episode will be up actually here in the next hour or so.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why we put our big announcements in the beginning of the show. So hope to see somebody, anybody, lots of people, I don't care, show up tonight.
Yep.
If you're a UFC fan, come find us.
Yep, and we'll be talking football with you guys there. So
yeah, we'll talk football there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as always, it's never a gimme. You always
go for
two, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Go for Two podcast. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Go for Two podcast. Also, if you liked what you heard and don't want to miss an episode, please follow us on iTunes.